Our first speaker today is Sarah Grau.
Grau.
Grau. I was like, no, I'm not saying that right. Sarah Grau. My apologies. Sarah Grau, our first speaker today, is from her Motivational Strategies Level 3 Understanding Emotional Intelligence. Emotional intelligence means processing all the information around you to produce the most effective response. What does that mean in the context of motherhood? How do the trials and tribulations of today's society affect that process? Sarah's experience journaling and paying particular attention to emotions has motivated her to be more thoughtful about the process. Please welcome Sarah, the emotional study of a mother.
Thank you. Day 1 of journaling emotional intelligence. The cat approached with tail held high, a curve in the tip like a question mark. She is happy, according to the bald man, scratch that, the cat expert on Animal Planet. I discover butter on the counter that she has been licking all night. I experience anger at child who was supposed to put away the butter. Child in question asks, "What's going on?" The look on his face is genuine concern. I ask if he put away the butter last night. There is no guile on his face. He says he did. Judging from his expression, my child is either the best liar I've ever met, or I need to look into memory loss disorders in children. I remember this is my theater kid. You know what? I can't do this, guys. I was going to give you a whole speech on my journal and about how I reacted to my children and my husband for the last 2 weeks. And that was just ruined this morning when I listened to a podcast from This American Life about a mother and a daughter and their experience together. This is the story of an 8th grader, a 13-year-old named Madison. She's a cheerleader, she's a really, really great student, and she's never been in trouble before. She was walking around school and she heard the new kid turn to one of his friends and say, "Hey, don't come to school tomorrow." And his friend goes, "Why?" And he goes, "Don't worry about it, just don't come." She had overheard this, and she has been raised in America's gun culture in which we have to worry about school shootings. She's been told since kindergarten, if you hear something, say something. But was that enough to say something? So she starts texting her friends. She has 2 different group texts going, just kind of shopping around for advice. Should I talk to an adult about this? Or should I sit on this? Would I be getting the kid in trouble? It bothered her all day long until she came home and told her mother, who, by the way, is a school safety officer herself. She explained to her mother what had happened, and her mother immediately went into school safety officer mode and started looking up phone numbers to call the principal, the school counselor, whoever she could to alert them of possible danger. While she's looking for this number, she gets a phone call from the assistant principal. And she said, "I need to talk to Madison. I've heard that she heard something." So she immediately puts the phone on speaker, and Madison tearfully explains exactly what she's heard. She said she didn't know what to do and that she wasn't sure and didn't want to get anyone in trouble. The principal thanks her for saying something, and they hang up. She finds out later on in the day that the principal had sent someone to this kid's house, and good news, there was no planned attack, there were no guns, there was no evidence of anything like that, so it was a false alarm. Everyone is told that it's fine and you just go to school tomorrow. So she goes to school and goes through about half her day when she gets pulled into the principal's office. And the tone is completely different than it had been earlier. She was told that now she was going to be missing the rest of her 8th grade year, 73 days, in a kind of disciplinary action that is usually reserved for violent kids. And when she asks why, she's told that committing a hoax like that and causing so much chaos in the school is cause for disciplinary action. So she gets sent home, and her mother immediately calls to get clarification on exactly what has happened and exactly what the punishment is. Her mother recorded her conversation with the assistant principal and herself. And we got to hear that on the episode. While I was listening to this, I was irate. This mother You could hear the tremor in her voice. She was so emotional about her daughter, but she remained calm. She used a lot of her jargony, terminology from the actual school handbook to explain why she thought that this was completely overblown and out of line. And inside, I was raging. You're the mom. How are you not coming unglued on this person? My husband would have had to tie me down to prevent me from slashing this woman's tires, or at least thinking really hard about it. And I couldn't believe how calm she was being in the face of her daughter facing some really nasty punishment. And at that point, the narrator tells us that Madison and her mother are Black, which completely changed the story for me. Of course, she's not coming exploded onto this principal. She's a Black woman. The angry Black woman stereotype is very effective at keeping Black women from expressing any kind of extreme emotion because they know they'll be dismissed. It's completely out of hand. The story does have a happy ending. They appeal. They bring the sentence down to 30 days, which incidentally is as much as they would give for a child committing a terrorist threat. Obviously, this is still too much, so the mother submits another appeal, which goes directly to the school board. They don't see Madison or her mother. All they see is a paper in front of them. And reading just the bare facts, they decide to dismiss it and decide that it's ridiculous. Which leads me to wonder how much racism was involved in both of those decisions. Emotional intelligence is a skill. It's as much about gathering information, it's about gathering as much information as possible from facial expressions, from tone, from outside influences, to craft an effective and appropriate response. But in examining my reaction to this podcast episode, I'm reminded that controlling for our own biases and emotions is the most crucial aspect of emotional intelligence. If you can't take your own filter down, you're not going to be able to see the plain facts.